Welcome to the Small Business Tax Savings Podcast, your weekly dose of accounting and tax tips specific to small business owners. You will be on your way to growing your business and paying the least amount in taxes as legally possible. Here's your host, Mike Jesowshek, CPA.
Hello and welcome back to another episode. I am your host, Mike Jesowshek, and today we're talking about how are credit card rewards taxed. Now, for quite some time now, there seems to be a lot of confusion around credit card rewards and how are they taxed and things like that. And throughout our free Facebook group and our tax minimization program, we see this topic pop up all the time. So I wanted to take the time to tackle it now, which brings up a good point. If you're not part of our free Facebook group, join now, join in on the conversation. Go to Facebook and just type in Small Business Tax Secrets and join that. As well as if you're interested in our tax minimization program, which we'll talk a little bit more at the end, check that out. Go to taxsavingspodcast.com/tax. Now, before we dig into today's episode, I want to list out a few different types of credit card rewards that we're going to be discussing. So first one is frequent flyer miles and points, hotel points, credit card points, cashback rewards, cash rebates, and sign-up bonuses. Now, before we even get started, in most cases, rewards from using a credit card do not need to be reported on your tax return, and there is no tax on it. But with that being said, there are some instances where they may be taxable, and that's what we want to discuss as well. So we're going to start out by saying, okay, how are frequent flyer miles, hotel points, and other credit card point rewards taxed? And the great news is they're not taxable. These types of rewards, frequent flyer miles, hotel points, credit card point rewards, are not taxable. Even personal use of business-earned miles or points are not taxable. Now, one thing to note is that if you redeem points for business travel, you do not get the cash equivalent value as a business deduction. So as an example, let's say you trade in 40,000 airline miles for a business trip, which is equivalent to $400. You are not able to take a business deduction for the $400 because you did not actually spend that money. You just used the points. And this kind of poses an incredible tax planning opportunity and tip. And so number one, our recommendation, what I'm recommending to you, is never use points or miles for business travel. Instead, what I say is take advantage of being able to take a business deduction for business travel and pay for that outright. Use your credit card to pay for the business travel, and you're going to rack up even more points. But instead of using points for business travel, use points or miles from business spending for your personal travel. You can then instead save those points or miles for personal use when it is not taxable, and you typically wouldn't get any kind of deduction if you paid for those items on the personal side anyways. So instead of using rewards for mileage or hotel spending for business travel, save those, pay for the business travel with your credit card, earn more points, but then utilize those rewards on the personal side. So let's go through two examples. You need to go to Las Vegas for a convention for work. Instead of wasting points on that, pay for it using your business credit card and get a business deduction, a 100% deductible business deduction for that work trip. Example number two, now you want to take your family to Disney. This is a 100% personal trip. Take all of those points you have accumulated within your business and utilize them to pay for your hotel or airfare on this 100% personal trip. So that's our tip today. Now, the next piece we're going to talk about is how are cashback rewards and rebates taxed. And when it comes to cashback rewards, the IRS often looks at these as rebates. So if you receive a cash rebate reward from your credit card company, this is not considered taxable income. This is great news. But I will say, don't get too excited yet. Although it is not considered taxable income, it does reduce your initial expense, at least on the business side. So let's kind of put some numbers into words here. As an example, you purchase $1,800 in office supplies using your business credit card, and that gets 5% cash back. So you got $90 in cash back from that $1,800 purchase. That cash rebate would be used to offset your $1,800 expense. So instead of getting an expense for $1,800, what you spent, it would actually be $1,710, which would be your $1,800 minus your cash rebate of $90. So one thing to note is that you do not get tax deductions typically on the personal side. So this downside that we're talking doesn't really come into play as much when it relates to your personal credit card, but is more of a concern when we're talking about the business side. Now, this downside on the business card does pose a planning opportunity, and that is look for a business credit card offering miles or points versus cash back. And we kind of discussed the big benefits of that above. Next, we're going to be talking about how are credit card sign-up bonuses taxed. Now, if you have a requirement to do a certain amount of spending to receive the bonus, so let's say, receive 20,000 points if you spend $3,000 in the first 3 months, these would not be taxable, and that's great news. However, if you receive a bonus simply for opening an account or referring somebody and nothing else is needed on your end, then this would likely be considered taxable income to you subject to ordinary income taxes. If you earn more than $600 via this method, you should be receiving a 1099 from your credit card company. It is also important to know that a no strings attached, basically no spending necessary bonus you receive does not need to be, it doesn't have to just be cash. It could be miles or event tickets or things like that in order for it to be considered taxable. And I always think, kind of look back at this idea and think this is very likely why you see credit card companies tie their bonuses to a spending requirement. Because not only does it help them where you're spending money on their credit cards, but it also helps you. Because if they tie it to a spending requirement, that bonus is no longer taxable to you because you have that spending requirement. So again, bonuses, if there is a spending requirement or it's based off of you using the card, those would not be taxable. But if you just get a free bonus simply for opening an account or simply for referring a friend, those items are likely going to be taxable. Finally, we want to talk about what happens if I donate credit card cash rewards or rebates to charity. And this is actually a pretty cool tax planning trick. You can donate your credit card cash rebates or rewards to a charity and you will still receive a charitable deduction for it. It is not taxable income to you, that cash, and you also get a charitable deduction. Now, how sweet is that? So if the cash reward is $250 or more, the charity must substantiate the donation with a written acknowledgement. So just be sure to grab this if necessary. But this is a great planning opportunity. If you're someone that is tithing or donating money anyways, why not use the cash rewards that is tax-free income to make that donation for it? So it's a great planning opportunity there. And again, you still get the charitable deduction for it. So I just wanted to give kind of a rundown, do a quick credit card rewards summary. Again, generally stating, credit card rewards are not taxable. Even personal use of points or miles earned from a business credit card are not taxable. Now, we're going to always recommend avoid using points or miles for business travel and instead pay for that in the business and get the tax deduction and then utilize any points earned for personal travel. And this is a good idea because you don't traditionally get a tax deduction on the personal side, but you can get a valid 100% business deduction on the business side. So why not get the tax deduction on the business side, but then utilize those points on the personal side? Cash back or cash rewards are not taxable if you are redeeming them in a business that are not taxable, but if you are redeeming them in a business, they do offset that initial expense you took. So again, let's say you spend $1,000 and there's a 10% cashback reward, which would be phenomenal, but let's just imagine your actual deduction, business deduction you're going to get is $900. And so this is often why we say in a business, you might be better off looking at points, utilizing a points credit card versus a cashback, because those do not offset your expenses. Now, sign-up bonuses are not taxable if there is a spending requirement, but if you get them simply for signing up and nothing else, they likely are taxable. Referral bonuses as well typically will be taxable. And you can actually donate cash rewards and rebates to charity and still get a tax deduction. So you might want to check that out. If it's something that you're typically going to be donating to charity anyways, what a great opportunity to be able to use items that are not taxable to you to give that donation to charity. So that's the kind of wrap on credit card rewards. Again, we wanted to kind of give an update because we see this so often in our free Facebook group. We have people of our tax minimization program asking about it, which brings me to a good point. If you have not checked out our tax minimization program yet, I highly recommend it. Within there, we have a library of tax strategies, implementation guides, videos going through tax strategies, downloads, and things like that. We have a stress-free bookkeeping training program too that kind of teaches you how to do your own bookkeeping. One of my favorite features of it is our Ask a Pro functionality, which gives you unlimited email access to our team. It's kind of like having an accountant in your back pocket. Can I deduct this? Can I deduct that? Is this taxable to me? Is this credit card taxable to me? How does that work on my bookkeeping? You have unlimited access to our team to ask those questions. We do monthly group trainings. We have a private Facebook group, and then we also have a partner directory. So looking for a referral for someone, we have a partner directory where we most likely, whatever you need, we more than likely have someone that we can refer you to. Just the other day, we had someone reach out as part of a member of our program and said, "Hey, Mike, I'm looking to rent out a jet." And surprisingly, we had someone that we could at least get them in front of for that. Now, most of the times it's a lawyer. I need to set up a business or something like that. But either way, we are very well connected with various different industries that we can kind of get you in front of the right person if it's not something that we can help you out with. So check out our tax minimization program. You can go to you can sign up and learn more by going to taxsavingspodcast.com/tax. That's all we have for this week's episode. Hope that is helpful. Hope that is a good news to you, knowing that for the general, most cases, credit card rewards are not taxable. And hopefully there was some good tips in there, by never using points or miles for business travel, to use those points from the business spending for personal travel instead. And traditionally, it might be better to look at a business credit card offering miles or points versus cash back. So hopefully that was helpful. And I will see everybody listening next week on our next episode.
This has been another episode of the Small Business Tax Savings Podcast. If you enjoy our weekly episodes, please leave a review and share with other business owners. You can find previous episodes and more information at www.taxsavingspodcast.com. Thanks for listening and have a great day.